UFC 289, it's time to crawl out of this hole. Welcome back to the Green Means Go channel. It's your host, me. As always, I'm trying to do this for a living. So a like, a subscribe, a subscribe, a subscribe, a subscribe. Your phone's not glitching. That's just me glitching. Goes a long way, right? So if you can help me out with that, I greatly appreciate it. Share this with your buddies who are degenerates or even not. Just want to know about the UFC or anything I cover, all right? I'm going to hit hard the NFL when that rolls around in the fall, maybe some college football. I plan on really giving the content out, hoping to, again, do this full time because I love doing this. So here we are again for another UFC card. We'll minimize this. UFC has not been the kindest to us. Last week, we were down 1.4 units across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 picks. So if we look at our record here, flipping over to this card, we're 3-12 on quarter unit plays, but we're still positive because we've hit 2 plus 700 bets. Sorry, I'll move my face here. We're 4-7 on our round bets, which is about down 2 units, and we're a little under 500 on our best bets, down about 3 units. So a total of minus 5 units, but again, anything can happen, right? We can flip that around in a week, or we can keep crawling deeper into the hole. But as always, I do this for entertainment. I don't bet outside of my means. This is something that I enjoy breaking down and I enjoy betting on. All right. I don't love horse racing, but I feel like UFC is a very close, kind of tandem to horse racing, where you have, individual events. You can bet on different things within the event. And, I like that script, if you will. So let's go ahead and look at UFC 289. We have 2 early prelims, we have 4 prelims, and we have 5 fights on the main event, capping off with Nunes and Aldana in your main event. So we'll get to all of that good stuff as we go, but I do want to start out here and look, guys, I hate giving my favorite pick first, right? Why would I want the early prelim, the game when people are still eating their nachos, haven't even tucked their kids into bed, all right? Why would I want that to be my best bet? I don't make the rules, guys, but this is this is the bet I'm looking forward to the most. Maybe not my best bet, but the bet I really think has insane value. So ultimately the play is Maria Oliveira by submission. Now, this is wild. I'm calling for a full unit on this, okay? And I realize that that's not usually what I do. At that number, I'm putting it down at method normally. But I just think that this is an opportunity, and when these opportunities pop up, I kick myself if I don't take them. So here's what I'm thinking, okay? We got Belbita, and I'm not sure I'm even saying that right, and Maria Oliveira. Both of these ladies do like to knock out, okay? And while it does say that Belbita has more submission wins, if we go look at her last win by submission, we have to go back to, 2019, she had one. One, okay? And then she started off her career in mixed martial arts with 2 back-to-back. In 2014, so almost 10 years ago, right? On the contrary, she's had 4 losses by submission. So she's been submitted 4 times, okay? A couple of those have been recently, all right? 1, 2 have been recently. Now, when I looked at her other losses, what I wanted to see was, are these women submission threats? And you could argue that one of these losses was, but the other ones, do not have any submission wins. So what does that tell me? If she's facing someone who can grapple, she has a weakness, all right? And that's evident. And I think Oliveira is going to realize that. Now, is Oliveira a grappler per se? Obviously, the skewed numbers in knockouts don't convince me necessarily. But, okay, you do see she has a grappling bout here. She does have, 7 years ago, a win by triangle. I just think for a girl who's been submitted 4 times to face a Brazilian fighter who obviously has been around jiu-jitsu, who obviously has the ability to submit, I just think 16-1 is valuable. All right, this is DraftKings line. FanDuel is not released. I don't know what they'll open up at. I'll be transparent. My limit right now, and I placed it today, was $5.44. That's all DraftKings let me bet on it. So when FanDuel comes up, we'll see what the line is, and I may add some more. But that is my favorite play of the night. Obviously, it's a long shot, but for the script, I think they'll respect each other's boxing. She has weakness in the grappling. I think if Oliveira can get her to the mat, we may have a chance. So let's move on. Gosh, I looked up how to say this. Urseg and Jorvek. Sorry, excuse me. Two very similar resumes in the submission, right? 8 and 6 submission wins, and big discrepancy here. 8 knockouts, no losses by knockout. Okay, so I went back and I looked through some things, and I'm not going to bore you with that, but I looked through all the things I've been keeping track of to see, what am I not hitting? Where can I improve? I realize that traits and tendencies aren't going to be super prevalent in 7 fights, but I looked, and a lot of the time that fighters have similar submission wins. So, and higher up submission wins. So this is a perfect example, 8 and 6. All of those fights, okay, and maybe I will bore you with the stats, all right? So if we look on here, 5 and 7, a decision happened. 5 and 4, a decision happened. 4 and 7, a knockout happened. And this is the case for all of these. It was either knockout or decision. So, while I may be tempted to look sub because that's what they do, I think this is a huge glaring difference here. And to get him at knockout at 3-1 for a guy that likes to knock out and will respect this guy's wrestling, and that's all he's going to want to do, I think a half unit on Jorvok knockout. Sorry, I need to just write down the pronunciation and all these, is a great spot to be. So that will be my pick for the last of the early prelim. Okay. Starting off the prelim card, Blake Builder and Kyle Nelson. Again, I was a little shocked to see this number, over 2.5 rounds at plus money. Yeah, Nelson's been finished, and Builder's like a minus 275 favorite, so maybe they're predicting an early finish by him. But again, when I talk about, similar numbers in the submission, we see that again here. So if he wants to wrestle, which it looks like he usually does, over 2.5 is great for a guy who seems to be okay on the ground. So over 2.5 rounds at plus 110 for a guy who is the favorite and doesn't look like he's going to be interested in knocking him out, again, I think is a good spot to be. So this one I did look up, all right, Zahabi versus, I'll shrink this down a little bit, Archie Long is how you would say this. And we're just going to keep it simple and go a full unit on Archie Long money line. Okay, we're not going to get cute. We're not going to get fancy. This is something that has me a little worried, right? 3 submission wins versus 2 submission losses. If we go back and look, though, because I think there was a reason why I was not concerned about that when I made this. When were his losses by submission? Decision, 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 decision. Okay, so 2017 he lost in round 3 to a submission, decision, 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 2016. So recently, as of late, he has not been losing to submission, and he has not been submitting people. Okay, rear naked choke, ankle lock. So that is why I was not too concerned about it. So I do think Archie Long, just a standard money line, maybe by knockout if you want to sprinkle, maybe by decision, but I'm just going to take his money line for a full unit, is the play on that fight. Next fight is Miranda Maverick, a very, very popular fighter in the UFC, and part of me wonders if that's why she's getting the number she is. She is currently a minus 300 favorite to win on Saturday. And looking at, Jasmine here, Silva's a dog, fought last week, won in the first round. I think she's going to be able to hang with Miranda Maverick. I was tempted to take her money line. Truth be told, but the lack of finishing ability and the advantage that Miranda looks like she's going to have in the ground game is the reason why I will think Miranda Maverick by decision is the play here at minus 135. But I think it's a close fight. Next fight, we got Chris Curtis and Nazardine Imavov. And here's the deal, guys. Chris Curtis, man, I would snuggle that dude. I would hang out with Chris Curtis. He just seems like a guy that you could just sit with on a couch, turn on the TV, but mute it, you know what I mean? And just kick it with Chris Curtis. Kicking it with Chris Curtis, baby. Let's start that. Let's start that YouTube channel, right? Guys, why didn't you tell me my golly. Okay, kicking it with Chris Curtis. The problem is I just think that Imavov is the better fighter. And I think that Chris Curtis has seen his day, and that day is done. So I don't think he's going to be able to knock out Chris Curtis, and I don't think he's going to want to try, because obviously that is where Chris Curtis shines. So if he can get this fight to the ground, if he can make him uncomfortable, if he can wrestle him against the fence, that's what he's going to try to do. So him by decision, Imamov by decision or submission at plus money, I think is a good spot as well, and we're going to go a full unit on that, okay? I realize it looks like maybe I'm chasing a bit here, putting all these units on here, but I with these pay-per-view cards, a little bit well-known, more known fighters, I feel a little bit better about some of these than I do on some of these fight nights. So that is why I'm getting a little carried away tonight. Marc-Andre Barriault versus Eric Anders. Again, should be a great fight. I could make the argument right now that if you could bet on fight of the night, bet on this as fight of the night. I think DraftKings used to have that line. I don't know if they still do. So again, guys with very similar resumes: 9-10, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, 5-4, 5-4. That's insane, right? And again, when this happens, you see a lot of respect. You sometimes see guys start a little slow. You know. Now I'm talking myself out of this. Nope. There's a reason. There's a bloody reason that you did this. Golly, maybe that's why. Loss in round 2, loss in round 1. Golly. Did I say this is going to be fight of the night? Did that come out of my mouth? Eric Anders is looking in a horrible condition. This is why, okay? All of the, not finished. Okay. We're going to go under 2.5 rounds in this fight. I think both of these guys are, this is not going to be fight of the night. What am I thinking? How could I sit here and say all of that about fight of the night? He beat Jordan under 2.5. We're going to get a knockout round 1. Fight of the night. Who am I? What am I saying? Okay. I'm not going to cut this out. I want you to see the transparency, the honesty that has taken place before you today. But we're going to go under. We're going to get a quick finish on this one. Or are we going to go over? No, we're going to go under. Just kidding. Okay. Next fight. Now this is going to be fight of the night. Dan Ige versus Nate Landwehr. Dan Ige has never been finished. Wow. And what's the odds on this sucker? Dan Ige is the big favorite here versus Nate Landwehr, but I do think Landwehr will bring a little something to him this fight. I think he will come ready to go, and I think that we see this fight go over 2.5 rounds as my half unit play. Third to last fight of the night: Mike Mallow versus Adam Fugit. Just kidding, Fugit. And when I look at this fight, this, Mike here has one goal in mind: submit. All right, submit. All right, 3 of his last 5 wins have been by submission. Trevin Giles, it was a grappling match. goes to decision. He knocks out Mickey Gall in the first round here. If you look at his competition, now it doesn't. It's not super, encouraging, right? Like he loses the grappling bout, but it's a grappling bout, so whatever. He wins by submission. He wins by Kimura. Um, so, and then you see this. Out of curiosity, what is his odds to win by knockout? Let's check that out every time. Okay. What are his odds to win by knockout? 215. Okay, so you know what? Let's do this. Because of that, because of his ability to do either, let's go him to win by finish, knockout or submission at minus 135. Let's get rid of this, and we just go. Right, there we go. Okay, we're going to switch that, and I think that that's the wise thing to do just because he can do either and covers our bases a little more. Okay. This fight is probably the one I'm looking forward to the most. I don't know what I was thinking down here. Please forgive me. And I'm shocked Charles Oliveira is the underdog. Very shocked, actually. Darush obviously is a household name. Obviously has been doing this for some time. Obviously, the form is fantastic. Hasn't lost a fight since 2018. But when I look at these, I mean, yeah, okay. Diego Mozois, Drew Dober, Tony Ferguson, Diego Ferreira. This would have been an interesting fight had it not been canceled. Would have given us a little bit more of a tell, I think, on this fight. So, because Oliveira lost to him, so how did that stack up? But Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, I just think is a much stronger resume. I mean, Clay Guida, Jim Miller, Jared Gordon's not my favorite. When I look at these names, even though he loses this fight, when I look at these names, they're a whole heck of a lot more convincing than these names. I guess Gamrod's, So the point I'm trying to make is that I think Oliveira wins this fight. Now, it's tempting to take him by submission. However, it's a 3-round fight. I think Darush has good enough wrestling that won't be a problem. But I do think if he can control, he's going to have a reach advantage for the striking. I think Oliveira can outpoint him. So we're going to double up here. We're going to go Oliveira money line, full unit, and we're going to go Oliveira by decision at 6-1. And I can understand why the books may be putting it there, because if we look at Oliveira's last fights, right? Not a decision, not a decision, not a decision, not a decision. Decision 3 years ago, not a decision, decision, not a decision, not a decision. So if Oliveira wins, which I think he does, and he does it by one of these methods, knockout or submission, we're still covered here. We're still ahead. So this is just kind of this we'll call it, I don't know which is the insurance to which, right? Doesn't matter. That's what we're rolling with. Final fight of the night, Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana. And truly, I'll come out and say it, I would not be shocked if Aldana wins this fight. Now, my bet is Nunes by decision, because I don't think Nunes hasn't had a finish in let's look. Let's look, shall we? When's Nunes' last finish? Decision. She gets finished. She wins by finish. 2021, decision, wins by finish. Okay, so she's had a finish. Aldana it's just one of those things again, where I said it last week, right? Where I said, Kai Kara Francis had his run, and Albazi, it's his turn, sort of a deal, and he's got to beat Kai Kara to get a title shot. The judges, he lost the fight. If we can go back to that, I turned it off, 5th round. I went to bed because I said, Kara Francis won this fight. And I put my phone on silent, and I woke up in the morning, and I saw the notification that my bet had won. And I said, huh? What? I saw the judges' scorecard, right? It was all over the place. So do I think that this is the same degree? No. Do I think Nunes is on her way out? No. But I do think Aldana has been through some tough waters, and I think that she could beat Nunes. Now, my bet is for Nunes by decision. That is my half unit play. That is what I'm rolling with, 5 rounds. However, if I wake up on Sunday, okay, if I go to bed on Sunday, technically, and Aldana has won, I'll say, yeah, okay. And how will she win? I don't know. Knockout. So maybe that's how. But I think if it gets into the boxing so much, then Nunes is just going to go for takedowns, which is why I think her to win by decision is a good play. So we're not going to analyze it anymore. We're going to roll with that. We're going to zoom out. Sorry, it's a little chaotic today. I'll try to clean it up next time. I realized we were kind of all over the place. So we're going to be deploying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8.25 units on this card. Hopefully we can get out of this hole. I mean, we hit this, we will be out of this hole even if the rest lose. So, hey, that's something we can look forward to, even though it's the first fight of the night. So, again, appreciate you guys, and we'll talk at you next time.